So the question of the day is, who are you when you fail? Now, a lot of people, they want to give up, they want to quit, they want to throw the towel in, they understand that something is hard and they don't want to move forward with it. But that's how people stay in the failure mentality. That's how people stay in the same position, in the same lifestyle, and the same habits that they've always had, and they don't continue to grow because of the person that they become when they fail. Now, before I get into this, everyone who's watching this video has failed at something, whether in your career, in your relationship, with finances, whatever the case is, you understand what failure feels like. And if you had to push through that moment, what was it that you did to actually overcome it? Most people, whenever they go through harder things in life, you know what I'm saying, that you're not used to being a part of, they're like, oh, this is too hard. I just have to throw the towel in. But like as a kid, you failed over and over. You know what I'm saying? Even in school, you failed a test, you got to remake it up. You failed a quiz, you got to remake it up. You didn't do something that you were supposed to do, and you got the chance to make it up because you pushed forward in that failing moment. So it's like when you sit there and think about, okay, right now, this moment that I'm going through is very difficult. But think about that moment when you went through it and you overcame it then. In that moment, it might have been one of the toughest moments of your life, and yet you overcome it to be where you're at right now. So it's like, who are you when you fail? Who are you when you continually push through and do the things that you know you're supposed to do, no matter how you're feeling in that moment? Some people, you're in a career field where you feel like everything isn't really going your way. You have a project that can't be done. You're working with a team that's not as productive. Your management team sucks. Maybe you're the manager and your team isn't operating to the full capacity that you need them to. What does that look like when things aren't going right? And who are you when those things don't go right? Are you the type of person that's going to continually push forward, or are you going to be the person that gives up when it gets hard? And if you're the person that gives up when it gets hard, why do you expect to be successful? Because in order for you to get where you need to get to, there's going to be pain. That's how you gain more knowledge. That's how you gain more experience. That's how you gain more connections that you need to build. That's how you gain more life experience just in general. For you to actually get to the next point, there has to be pain for you to gain. That's the way that life operates. But the thing is, if you just get stuck on the pain and say, oh man, this hurts too bad, then it's not going to get you any gain because you're not learning from anything. It's like if you have a little, you know, as a kid, everything hurts, right? You're so sensitive to everything. You're like, oh, I got a little boo-boo on my, you know, on my hand or whatever. And it's like, you didn't break your bone. You just got a little scratch. You know what I'm saying? You fell off your bike. You got a little scratch. You're bleeding a little bit. Cool. Now get up, you know, clean it up, do what you need to be done. So to them, it feels like they just broke a bone because they haven't really experienced what pain feels like. So they have a little cut, but it feels like something that's much bigger than what it is until mom or your daddy comes over and they say, hey, it's gonna be all right, let's cater to it. And that's what ties into my next point, is that you have to have someone that's gonna be able to be there to hold you accountable. That's why mentors are there. That's why therapists are there. That's why parents are there. That's why teachers are there. People of authority that keep you in check, that say, okay, look, I know this didn't go how you wanted to, but here's the thing. You can get better, and this will actually further you down the road. If you just take a second and realize, if you just take a second and think, what does life look like when there's not a mentor? What does life look like when there's not a therapist? What life look like when there's not healthy parents or really good teachers or really good, you know, people of authority that can actually keep people in check when they fail? What does it look like when people fail and they just want to completely give up? What does it look like when people go through hard times and they just sit there and whine about it in their bed? What does that look like? I guarantee that many businesses won't be successful, many content creators won't be as successful, many buildings won't be here, many architectures, everything that's around here wouldn't be here because people are like, oh man, that's a really tough project. That's gonna cost a lot of money. I don't know if we can overcome that, so we're just not gonna do it. Oh man, I really wanna start this business, but I don't really get that many customers, so I'm not really gonna help many people, and I'm just gonna shut the business down. Who are you when times get tough? Because the person that you become in those times is going to make the person that who you are. The person that people become when they fail is so critical to their growth, because if you're one of those people that just question everything, you start doubting yourself, you start having negative talk, you start removing people out of your life, you put yourself in a position of risk, because you're actually teaching yourself when things get hard, I want to quit, I want to go back in my turtle shell. Instead of you actually seeking the help that you need, instead of you finding the mentor that's going to be able to pour into you, instead of you finding the guidance counselor that's going to tell you everything's going to be all right, instead of you finding the therapist for you to actually express and be open to, you know what I'm saying? You got to find the right people in your life for you to actually be able to manage becoming successful and becoming, you know, overcoming that type of failure in your life. So my words to you is, find someone in your life that you trust, that you're willing to work with, and help you stay accountable. For myself, anytime I feel like one of my students, or even for myself, whenever I'm holding myself accountable, if I do something I know I need to do, I do it regardless. And if I don't do it, then I punish myself by rather doing push-ups or doing something else I really don't want to do. So if you feel like you don't have anyone in your circle to hold you accountable, hold yourself accountable and say, okay, this moment's getting hard, this moment's getting tough. What do we do from here and how do we grow? What did this teach us? And what do we need to do to operate to be better than this moment that we're currently in? And once you start doing that consistently, you start training your mentality to be like, okay, I failed here, this moment got hard, but I understand what it takes for me to keep going forward. I understand what it takes for me to keep moving at the same efficiency that I did before I even failed. And you pick it up, you learn what you need to learn, and you keep moving. So my question to you again is, who are you when you fail? That being said, y'all, that's gonna wrap up the video. I will catch y'all in the next video. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and I will catch y'all later. I'm gone.